Hello and welcome back to Speed Demon Painting. Today we are taking a look at no less than 5 boxes which were just released by Warcradle Studios for both Armoured Clash and Dystopian Wars. Warcradle Studios is always kind enough to send me these boxes for review so we can have a look at what is coming out for the Dystopian Age in this month. Now the first 4 boxes we'll be taking a look at are the Doksuri, Scythe, the Defiance and the Corsair fighters for the Empire, the Enlightened, the Crown and the Union respectively. Armoured Clash isn't the only game getting some love this month though, there's also the Gotham Battle Fleet set which is released for Dystopian Wars, which can be used by both the Alliance and the Union. This flagship is specialized at both sending out assault tokens to do classic boarding actions, but can also be used as a sort of landing vessels to do any beachhead landings, which all ties into unifying those two games in one giant campaign. Let's start things off though with the Doksuri fighter, and these are new boxes from Warcradle Studios, and that shows because I have a hard time prying them open at first. Inside you'll find a baggie of resins. You'll also get a set of flight stands. These can be glued down on this single plastic base which is clearly cut out from a sprue, and it's the same sort of base that we've seen on these VTOLs for the Enlightened. And if you're wondering if you can get more parts for this conversion that I've made, well, if you buy one of these flyers you will have plenty of flight stands, like I said. The little plastic bases themselves though come completely pre-textured, so you don't really have to put any more effort into them, and they actually sort of have a gap at the back end of them where you can easily fit some 1mm thick magnets in there for fairly easy transportations, because that is always a bit precarious when you're working with things with flight stems. The actual fighter itself can be found in these small little baggies, and for the Doksuri we actually have 2 major sprues. All you have to do is clip them off there and glue them together like such, and then there is this main rotor thing that you can clearly glue in one way onto the model. Make sure you don't get any glue on the detailed part that goes in the back, and yeah, I recommend you do that one first and then do the back wings. In terms of flash, there's very little of it. This was a very clean cast that I got. There's always going to be some cleanup on these resin models for mold lines, because, well, these aren't one-part molds like you have with the Dystopian Wars ships. Next up we have the Scythe for the Enlightened. This is definitely the more futuristic looking ones, and yeah, I'm again having some issues opening up the packaging, but in a way I'm glad that these are sort of blister packs that do not use excessive amounts of plastics, because they're quite easy to throw away. This one also comes with a little pamphlet in there where you can find the build instructions, but let's be honest, so far with these resin ships the build instructions aren't exactly rocket science, and you should be able to figure that one out. This is especially true for this little fighter. There was a bit more flashing on these which you will have to scrape off, but that's very easy to do, and there's only a single part that needs to be glued on, and it is sort of the nose piece here, which sort of neatly hides the fact that you've got a big sprue gate on that end. There's also a ball joint at the bottom, which is the same as with the Doksuri, and if you want to, you can always use these small bits on the flight stems to insert that first there, giving you sort of a hang-on point while painting it as well. So yeah, that's always an option that not a lot of players know about. In any case, the majority of the work on these models will clearly be cleaning them up, the flash and the mold lines, and the assembly doesn't really present much of an issue. Let's take a look at the Defiance fighter from the Crown next. It of course comes with a pamphlet with the build instructions, but looking at this through the bag, it also seems that there's not a lot of work that needs doing on these. There's a few small tidbits on there, one of which is the landing gear. That bit sort of broke off of the sprue gate because it's a very small little contact point, and those landing gears need to go at the bottom, as you can see here. You just have to make sure that the machine guns are pointing forwards and not backwards like I'm doing wrongly here. Apart from the landing gear, there's a few other tidbits that need to be installed, such as the front jet intake. That sort of hides all of the nubbins you might have from the sprue gate on there as well. And there's also this neat little back turret that you still have to apply to the top, which is sort of the tail gunner position, which is a classic feature of the old British warplanes. Let's switch things over to the Union version now, which is the Corsair. That one also, of course, comes with the base installed. This one was damaged a bit in transit, the box itself, but again, these are supposed to be thrown away in the end, so not much there. This one does have a bit more glue work compared to the other models we've seen so far, because the wings are separate on these that you will have to glue onto. It's not exactly rocket science to determine where the wings go on this model, because it sort of starts off quite wide and then tapers out towards the end, so you can't really go too wrong there. You do have to clean up the mold lines, but again, that is very easy because resin is such a soft material that it scrapes off nice and easy. I've gone and assembled the models off camera. I always recommend that you use gel superglue, by the way, for these resin models. It's quite easy to use, and you can use a bit too much, which means that it'll sort of squirt out of the sides of it, but you can always just use a bit of paper tissue to clean that up nicely, which will act as a nice gap filler as well. I'm also leaving you with a few size comparison shots for all the different vehicles compared to their main battle tanks, as we can see here with the one from the Crown. Now, the smallest of the 4 aircraft is definitely this one, from the Enlightened, the Scythe. The main battle tank is also sort of in footprint, smaller than most of the other main battle tanks, but it makes up for it by being a lot taller, and that same design philosophy can be seen in the airplane as well. By the way, I have started painting my infantry for the Enlightened, the citizens seen here, and I will be putting up a paint guide about that one soon, so if you want to see that one, definitely subscribe to the channel for when that video comes. Next up we have the Corsair for the Union, and there's quite a lot of nice detail that you can find on these models. Same with the little roundels from the RAF for the Crown. This has the Union symbols all over the side, and yeah, as a size comparison with the main tank, this one has a very impressive wingspan, but looks quite beefy and chunky compared to some of the other aircraft designs, which is, I personally like this one best. It has the most diesel punk look of the 4 of them. And then of course we have the Empire ones, which are sort of known for their weird designs. We have the ball tank in the Fangun medium tank, and then these one of the Doksuri fighters with their weird sort of double wing design in this one. I really do like it. It's also quite a big aircraft compared to the other ones because of that. A small little note with this design though, you do want to make sure that everything lines up neatly when you're gluing the extensions of these fuselages towards the back, because if you get that angle wrong, it's just going to look very wonky and wrong. Now, having looked at all the different aircraft, let's take a look at the Gotham Battle Fleet set, which was sent to me for review as well. Normally these come shrink wrapped, but they've sort of changed gears with the packaging on these, and rather than shrink wrapping the whole thing, they're using these small little tapes at the side to hold the sleeve in place, so you can just take it off more easily. I quite like it. It reduces the amount of plastic involved in packaging, which is always good. Now, this is a sort of medium-sized box, as it traditionally contains 2 plastic sprues along with a large resin ship. There are no included build instructions, but they are included digitally by this QR code that links you to the website where you can find not just the rules, but also the build instructions for this set. On top of the other plastics in the resin, you will find this little baggie, which comes with 6 bases. It is a ship specialized at sending Talon assault tokens, which also act as landing vessels as well. You also get, of course, the big bag of resin, and the 2 sprues that come with it are the Ore War veteran sprues that we've seen before. It will include parts with weapons for both the Union and the Alliance, because, well, this can be used in both factions. Let's start things off though with the star of the show, which is the Gotham flagship, which is in this resin baggie. It does come with a second sprue on there, which has a couple of rocket batteries, which I think is the main armament for this ship, and you'll get 4 of the Union variant and 4 of the Alliance again, because they can be used by both. And you also get 1 resin Talon dropship that goes on the back of the ship. There's also a few plastic parts that will need to be used on this ship, And yeah, as you can see, it's quite a big of a chunky model. You get a lot of resin when it comes to Dystopian Wars with their ships. This is the area where you're going to have to clip on the little plastic carrier bit, which can be found here, because it will take one of the 3 talon that is going to sit on this model. 2 of them will be found on the plastics, and like we've just seen, a 3rd one will be in resin that can be glued on there. You're also getting a few parts there where you can do the weapon systems. I always recommend that you magnetize that one, and then the one at the far back takes the resin crane that is included as well. Next up we have the bridge section, which comes with 2 different hardware points where you can put the other 2 rocket batteries on. This was a very clean cast. All you have to do really is snip it off of the sprue gate, and it's not hard to figure out how to install it on this hull. All you have to make sure of is that you point the correct bit forward, which is of course the bridge for the captain. Now, when looking at the box, it is immediately clear that you have to use some of the plastic parts, and that will limit the amount of options that you can build with the cruiser. And a nice change to see is that they are now mentioning this on the sleeve as well. The only 2 options that you can realistically make with the sprues are now the Gettysburg and, as an alternative version, the Providence cruiser, but the other versions that you can normally build with this sprue are locked out, and it's great to see that one mentioned on the box now as well. And for the final part of the video, let's take a look at some of the sprues, and also, through the magic of editing, some of the painted up aircraft that I already have. Now, you do get a lot of weapon systems on this sprue. There are 3 main heavy gun batteries for the Alliance and 3 that are used for the Union, so it very much depends on which way you want to go with this ship. But again, you're magnetizing them, so why not swap between the 2 factions? The Gettysburg will be using this bit at the front, and if you want to use the Providence Merchantman, you'll be using these 2 bits for the front part along with this large loading deck. And yeah, like we've discussed, those are the only 2 build options you have. You can also build Springfield corvettes and also regular small escort tokens for your main flagship, which is always good to include in your lists because they're quite a big defensive boon for them. I'm painting my Gotham up as a Alliance version for the Sousa, and I will be using 2 Providence Merchantmen as well for them because they are such cheap and effective platforms to take objectives, which is something that my French force desperately needs. I've also been painting some of the aircraft, like I said, and I'm doing a little showcase here for your viewing pleasure. The channel already has a few paint guides up for these different vehicles and the infantry as well for Armoured Clash, so if you want to find out how you can paint these, definitely check out these videos. And if you want to learn more about Armoured Clash and Dystopian Wars, make sure that you subscribe to the channel for any future videos. As a little side note, one mantra in wargaming is to always focus on bases and faces for your miniatures, because that is what draws the eye immediately when you look at these models. Now, these tanks and vehicles do not have faces, obviously, but they do have very nice canopies, and if you put that little bit of extra effort into those canopies, that is what's going to draw the eye straight away. Anyway, that is it for me for today. I do hope you enjoyed this video, and I'm just leaving you with another little side project that I'm working on some terrain for Armoured Clash with these dragon teeth and bunkers. See you in the next video. Until then, bye!